All right, let's just get right into it. If you spend any time at all on Nigerian social media, you have absolutely seen this debate. It's the never-ending, really passionate argument comparing two musical giants, Fela Kuti and Wizkid. It's a conversation that just keeps coming back. But today, we're going to break down why this whole argument might be missing the point entirely. And the arguments, they always look something like this, don't they? On one side, you got the people celebrating Fela as the GOAT. The ultimate icon, a true activist who used his music like a weapon. Then, on the other side, you have fans pointing to Wizkid's just unprecedented global success, arguing he's the one who took Nigerian culture to a level nobody had ever seen before. It's the classic showdown, and it always boils down to this one question. Who is greater? Who really had the bigger impact? Now, on the surface, that seems like a pretty fair question to ask, right? Well, here's the thing. This comparison, the whole way we even frame this conversation, it's just fundamentally flawed. We're kind of getting it wrong right from the get-go. And to really get why, we have to look at the world each of them was operating in. Because this isn't about two runners on the same track. Nope. This is about two completely different races running completely different worlds for entirely different reasons. So let's start with Fela. He came up in an era of brutal military dictatorships in Nigeria. I mean, for him, music wasn't just entertainment. It was a straight-up act of resistance. His Afrobeat was a direct and really dangerous confrontation with power. It was a tool designed to wake up a nation. His whole mission was political. It was about survival and revolution. Okay, now let's jump forward to Wizkid. He rises to fame in the 2010s. We're talking about the age of the internet, streaming, globalization, a totally different world. The main fight wasn't against a military government at home. It was for cultural recognition abroad. So his mission? It was all about export. It was about packaging Nigerian sound and culture for a global audience that was finally ready to listen. And when you actually put their worlds side by side like this, the difference is just, it's staggering. Fela was dealing with military rule, with censorship, which forced him into local confrontation. Wizkid, on the other hand, comes up in the internet age, which allows for global connection. You see, they were solving two completely different problems. And that right there gets to the heart of it. The biggest mistake we make is trying to measure their impact with the same ruler. It's like trying to measure the temperature of the sun with a tape measure. The tool just doesn't work for the job. Okay, so if we can't use the same ruler, then how do we get a handle on their impact? Well, we have to think about it in a new way. Local depth versus global breadth. Just look at this breakdown for a second. Fela's impact was incredibly deep, but it was laser focused on one place. He took on power directly. He called out governments by name, and his goal was to wake up the nation of Nigeria. Wizkid's impact, though, is cultural and global. He wasn't naming politicians. He was normalizing Afrobeats across the entire planet. He was shifting the world's perception of Nigeria by making its culture cool, making it desirable. So one went deep, the other went wide. And listen, that global impact, it's not just some abstract idea. It is tangible. We are talking about Grammy Awards. We're talking about songs on the Billboard charts. We're talking about Afrobeats being played at the Super Bowl, headlining massive festivals all over the world. These were spaces that were, for a long time, completely shut off to Nigerian artists. He didn't just knock on the door, he kicked it down. Now, this brings us to a huge point in the debate: activism. The argument you always hear is, well, Fela was a real activist and Wizkid isn't. But this way of thinking kind of ignores how the very definition of activism can change with the times. Fela's activism had to be confrontational. It was loud, it was aggressive, you couldn't ignore it. Why? Because in an era of total state control over the media, silence was the same as being complicit. He shouted because he had to. Wizkid's activism just works differently. It's more symbolic, but that doesn't make it any less important for his era. He doesn't need to drop a protest album. He can use his massive global platform to shine a light on issues, to draw the world's attention to something like the End SARS movement, which he did, and it had a huge effect. So here's the really crucial point. Even though the tools were completely different, a protest song versus a viral hashtag, the underlying goal was, you could argue, exactly the same. They both fought, in their own unique ways, for African dignity and for the world to finally see and respect their people. So if they're not competitors, then what are they? How should we look at them? Let's try to reframe this whole thing with one last really powerful analogy. It's not a rivalry. It's more like a construction project. Think about it like this. Fela, he laid the foundation.
a deep, rebellious, unshakable foundation of fearless Nigerian art. And then Wizkid and others from his generation, they came along and built a gleaming global skyscraper right on top of it.
And here's the thing, you can't have one without the other. You just can't. Without Fela's foundation of protest and cultural pride, there's no solid ground to build a global movement on. But without Wizkid's skyscraper, that amazing foundation doesn't reach the world, and it doesn't become a sustainable global industry. It's a symbiotic legacy.
And that right there is the real takeaway. This whole thing isn't a competition. A legacy doesn't need one winner. Fela is irreplaceable for what he did, period. And Wizkid is irreplaceable for what he did. You cannot remove either one of them without the entire structure of modern Nigerian music fundamentally changing. So instead of asking who's greater, maybe the much better question we should be asking ourselves is this: why are we so determined to force artists from totally different generations, who fought completely different battles, into the exact same competitive argument? They didn't fight the same fight, but they both profoundly changed Nigeria's story for the better. And appreciating that shared contribution